Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in for another special episode here for Fast Break, live for Spreaker, for IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all sports, and you're welcome to join us for a 10-year celebration for IE Sports Radio. On tonight's show, we'll discuss playoff action that's happened this past week. The Knicks and Pacers are tied 2-2. Who's got the advantage going to Tuesday matchup back at the Garden? Can the Timberwolves go up 3-1 on the Denver Nuggets tonight? Or did Denver got a trick or two up their sleeve? Also, the draft lottery happened today. The Hawks get the number 1 overall pick. What should they do with it? And how do we think this draft is going to go? And like I said, 10 years of IE Sports Radio. We're going to give our 10 predictions, thoughts that should happen this past summer. Not just NBA, but just basketball in general. But we talk about this and much more here live on this beautiful Sunday, Mother's Day. I'm glad that y'all are here with us. And let's get the show rolling, all that stuff. Happy Mother's Day to everybody out there, all the mothers out there. All the good ones out there, there's the real shit ones. You know, trying not to celebrate those. So if you celebrate your mother, do tell you love her, all that stuff. Because time is short. But anyways, D-Log, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing well, man. Getting ready for these NBA games this round of playoffs. Everything's going well. Shout out to all the mothers, both of my mothers, my stepmother and my mother. Happy Mother's Day, not only to them, but also to my sisters as well, being the great mothers that they are. So happy Mother's Day to all. Let's get the show going.
Yeah, let's get the show going. I know last week we had some weather issues and stuff like that. Real quick, the Orlando Magic got bounced in 7 games against the Cavs. Real quick, I know you guys saw in your thoughts, but real quick, what are your thoughts on them getting bounced out of the playoffs, and what should they do? You may say that later on for the show about things that's got to happen in the summer, but real thoughts on the Magic being eliminated for the playoffs.
To be honest with you, I know how they got bounced was kind of embarrassing, but kind of bothered being the fact that they were up by so much. I thought that, having that lead that we had, that they were for sure going to be going to the next round. But we did have to take that loss. I feel like we had the chance to move on, go play Boston. But this is a young team. And I'm actually proud that they made it as far as they did. That shows, a bright future. And if we can continue to move in this direction, I think we might see a pretty good team for a long time with, Wagner, Banchero, so now, it sucks that we did get bounced. I just feel like having that lead that we had, like it was like, we had the game, we had it. It just, things happen. NBA is a game of runs, and the Cavs went on the run at home and ended up getting a dub. So now, all season here, and they got to get ready for being able to bounce back.
All right, and we'll see how. Probably get some thoughts on Orlando Magic later on in the broadcast. So I got some thoughts on the Magic as well. So I'll earmark them here for later on for the show. But let's get on to let's go to today's action, D-Lock. The Pacers and the Knicks on ABC today. The Pacers, they came out like gangbusters. Today. And I think New York only had the lead in one, so it was just early in the game. But the Pacers, they blew those boys out the gym, especially in that second quarter. I texted you now, tweeted from the show's account at Fastbreak IESR on Twitter /X. At the Knicks at that point, at the 4-minute mark, if they don't at least get to 30, just stick a fork in them. And I don't think they got to the 30 mark to under 4 minutes. So they got mollywopped. You try to kind of wonder how long Thibodeau's going to leave those starters in there when the game is well out of hand. But they got beat down 121, 189. 20 points for Halliburton to lead away for the Pacers. 13 for Miles Turner, 14 for Siakam. Off the bench, McConnell played well again with 15 and 10 assists. 10 points for Isaiah Jackson as well for the Knicks. Brunson, who had 18 points, but 0 for 5 for 3-point land, who's still kind of favoring the lower leg injury at times in the game. 20 points off the bench for Alec Burks and 16 for McBride, but that's like mostly points in garbage time. D-Lock, series tied 2-2. Going back to MSG on Tuesday, where do you see this series stand in your eyes at the moment?
Well, I think that this is going to be somewhat still going to be a very close series. But what's going to happen is I think that these minutes that these Knicks players are playing is going to catch up to them. I mean, playing 30-plus minutes, throughout the season in this series also is going to play a part at some point. I mean, they need to have some of these guys need that rest. These rotational guys need to get in as well. But I feel like the matchup is going well for the Knicks. But I think we're going to see them end up showing why they're missing a player like a Julius Randle. And things like that. I think at some point we're going to notice, the difference in that. I think that the Pacers are going to make that strong push, and take over this series. And I think, with that the rotational guys that they have, it's giving these guys like a Tyrese Halliburton, and Miles Turner, the rest, with Isaiah Jackson, T.J. McConnell, a lot of these other guys in there. So I think that, the Knicks are talented. I think they're a good team, but Jalen Brunson can only do so much. So at some point, I think that the Pacers are going to, end up moving forward. And it's obviously, you have the 30 for 30 going on with Reggie Miller, having to match up against the Knicks. That's been airing on ESPN the past couple of days. I think this series is going to be, a very good series, revamping that rivalry. But I definitely think the Pacers definitely take this one because of, just that coaching cue of, getting those other guys and those starters the rest that they need. I think eventually, Brunson, those guys playing 35 plus minutes is gonna play a big part moving down the stretch.
Yeah, you brought a good point about Thibodeau and the point, the minutes, stuff like that. Like I said, like I just brought up, like it's just like, okay, Tom, the game's well out of hand. They're 30 plus points. Guys ain't really hitting nothing. It's just like, it's just like, what are we doing here? But, he got smart and pulled the starters out and stuff like that. All that. So, but no OG on Inabe today. Of course, he missed game 3 as well. So you had that right there going against you. But the way the Pacers just came out and shooting well, I don't know how to say shooting well, but just kind of scoring the ball very well at different pockets in that first half, kind of really pushed them over the edge. And, the series has been kind of tight. The first 3 games have been tight. Now, you had this blowout here. Now Indiana's, felt like they were robbed in game 1. Now they go back to the Garden, which, they can win. If they can at least win 1 and come back to Indiana, I think they got a shot. But, that's ifs and buts. But the way this series has been kind of played very closely, Indiana got a shot. And I'm going to be bold to say it, with the injuries to the Knicks right now, on Tuesday's matchup at MSG, give me the Pacers to win a close one. Give me the Pacers to win game, game 5 on Tuesday. Now, do they close out on game 6? I don't know. But give me the Pacers to win at least game 5, and then we'll talk from there. I'll leave that last word.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, for me, I think the Pacers have the rotational guys. I think they definitely are the ones to watch out for. They're in a very good spot right now. Getting in the groove. Obviously, getting 2 games back to back, which is the game they were expected. Alec Burks. Obviously, the Knicks ended up putting him in. Trying to ease off some of the minutes for these other guys like a Josh Hart, but I think Siakam and Miles Turner is going to play a big role. But then you got guys like Obi Toppin and Isaiah Jackson coming in. Now you got Doug McDermott coming in, grabbing some minutes. They're going deep in the bench, and what happens is that's giving rest for the rest of these guys. So they're starting to, make wise decisions with their rotation. And I think it's going to help them. I think this series probably goes to 6, man. To be honest with you, I don't know if it goes to 7.
So we'll see where the series goes. We're complaining about the small market having no shot and all that stuff. Well, they got a chance now to kind of put that BS to bed. Playing right now, the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. Timberwolves up 15-9 on the Nuggets, with Minnesota up in the series 2-1. So far right now, 4 points for Jokic, who won the MVP once again. And real quick, what's your thoughts on Jokic winning his 3rd MVP in his career in the NBA?
I mean, well deserved, man. I mean, I think Jokic has just been outstanding. This is one of them years where you had a few guys that you could have really penciled in and kind of said, well, hey, he definitely deserved. Obviously, we see Shaq and Shannon Sharp talking about it, but that's a different conversation for a different day. But I think that he was well deserved. I mean, Luka had a hell of a season. Multiple guys. SGA had a hell of a season. But with the new criteria and all that stuff, Joker still managed to handle all the business that he needed to. He played all the games that he needed. He still performed well. Still got his team in the playoffs and got them to be able to have this opportunity. So, for me, I think it was well deserved.
I think, yeah, like I agree with you. Like, it was well deserved, but I felt like you alluded to, like you could have gave it to somebody else. And I thought SGA, the way OKC kind of played and stayed there all season, deserved a nod. Anthony Edwards, why he didn't get like a quote unquote invite?
Yes, big time.
And the Wolves were like top of the West for most of the year. That was my thing. Like the final 3, like SGA, Luka, and Jokic. And I was thinking, like, at one point the Mavs were in the play-in bracket in the standings at one point in the season. And I know Luka's great and all, but Anthony Edwards and those boys were kind of like at the top of the West for most of the year. They kind of tripped at the curb a little bit towards the end of the season and dropping the standings. But I felt like my vote probably went to Edwards. Out of the 3 finalists, my vote would go to SGA. But I thought, deserved, but there's at least two guys I would put him easily ahead of Jokic. Jokic, if I had a vote, he'd be get my third place vote. Edwards, and then SGA, somewhere in there that you can flip either one. You can make an argument one day for Edwards, one for SGA. But I thought either one of those guys deserve to have MVP this year. And Luka will be a fourth place vote in my opinion. If I had a fifth one, man, kind of tough. Maybe Tatum, maybe Jaylen Brown, maybe Brunson. You know, combination of one of those guys there. Maybe throwing Giannis. But I just think those two guys kind of deserved it more than Jokic. But I think next year I think okay, you got three for Jokic. Okay, cool. Now I think we're kind of going to see that push as we kind of see now in Anthony Edwards, SGA. You know, John Morant get back healthy and act right. And Zion stay healthy. We're going to see more push for those guys to get the limelight and stuff like that. But I'll leave that last. So go ahead on the MVP talk.
Well, no, I mean, I agree with you. I think that, Jokic is clearly who he is. But, you have other players that are coming around showing, what they've done, not only for themselves, but the team as well. Which is a huge deal, how much of an impact they're making. I mean, we're talking about OKC Thunder, man. Just a couple of years ago, we talked about how young this team was and so much growing they had to do and so many draft picks they got. And this team literally was one of the best teams in the West, not only the West, but the NBA. So that plays a huge part. And then also, again, Anthony Edwards. I talked about the Timberwolves for a while. I talked about what I expect from them, what I think they can do. And maybe it seems like they got that missing piece in Anthony Edwards. And he is literally showing that now. And they're showing how big of a deal he is for them. So for me, even now, I think, Timberwolves are actually up right now, him at the free throw line. He's putting on the show right now already with 10 points at 4 for 4. So, yeah, you're right. I think this year, okay, Jokic had his third one, but I think next year we'll see other players start to step up and be more in the talks with them.
I know Anthony Edwards, showed up so well this year that Glenn Taylor walked back on selling the team to Alex Rodriguez and company. That right there, well, that's like another show for another day, but that's shady and kind of recognizing, let's hold off on this sell yet. And, the sell didn't go through. Edwards is proven to be a superstar. And Minnesota right now up on the defending chance in the first quarter. Going back to yesterday, D-Lock, you got the Celtics Cavaliers. The Cavs took one from Boston. Big time win there. Then you turn around and come to Cleveland. And you beat down the Celtics at home. Still no Jared Allen. But, you got a little bit of momentum. But you let Tatum, Brown get what they want. You texted me and mentioned about Darius Garland. What did you think about yesterday's game in your eyes? And do the Cavs have a bounce back game, come Monday?
Well, for me, they can have a good chance to have a bounce back game. But again,
you're going to need Garland to play well. I think Garland is going to be the big piece that they need. And right now, I talked about it. I've seen it. Hell, even and in the series against the Magic. I mean, he didn't really do too much. He needs to continue. He needs to step up and have a better game. Hell, Karis LeVert is playing just as good. He's coming off the bench. So I think that obviously the Boston is who they are. They're loaded right now, but they're showing weakness right now, man, to be honest with you. Drew Holiday is not doing anything in the first quarter at all. Derek White also, they're starting to catch fire later on, but they're leaving chances for Cleveland to stay in these games. Al Horford hasn't done anything. Dude was 0 for 6 in the 3-point land. So, they're somewhat wounded right now with a couple pieces, but I think that if Cleveland can get their guards going, that they have a chance to get another game. Now, obviously, we're talking about, a team that is clearly ready to win now, built to win now. But, that doesn't mean that this is a guaranteed thing. This is their chance. They're in this series. Find a way to get it done. And it takes, those guards to do something. I think Jared Allen and Evan Mobley can't do their part, but it does play a huge piece on what these guards do.
I think real quick for me, it's just like to Jared Allen. I know you got the rib issues going on. Basketball can be a physical game, but also sometimes you kind of got to suck it up a little bit. Now we don't know severity how he's feeling, but I feel like if he give you at least good 15 minutes with Porzingis out of action right now, because Boston ain't playing no size. What they got is all out. That's what they be playing. Horford played 39 minutes. There were big men Boston really played is corner, and he only played 8 minutes. So, with Cleveland, and Cleveland got more size than Boston does. That's why they really took advantage of that. And like you bitch about Darius Garland, when you text me that, and I was still kind of brainstorming the idea to do for our theme for tonight's show, and it kind of hit me. Donovan Mitchell has kind of been, the media folks been kind of bringing up Donovan Mitchell in trade talks just because he ain't signed an extension, all that good stuff. I do wonder, do they kind of just like maybe sell Garland high and keep Mitchell? Because at least with Mitchell, you get a 20-point plus score that can win some games. Not saying Darius Garland can't, but it's just like at points Darius Garland kind of is just there. It's all last year in the playoffs. He didn't really show up against the Knicks. Here, I know you're going against a better backcourt defensively in Harden and White, but still, you got to show up, man. You got to show up. And shout out to the chat. Shout out to Jim B. She brought up that Mitchell and Allen are questionable for tomorrow, which ain't freaking good. She says he's participating in shootout. Probably talking about Allen. Participating in shoot arounds. He should be limited tomorrow. If he can play half-ass, stick him out there. So you can get advantage inside, especially in the glass and stuff like that, in which you got Dean Wade back in the lineup. LeVert's been playing very well off the bench. And then, of course, you got Merrill and Strus and stuff like that. If you get those things kind of rolling outside and controlling the paint and rebounding against his Boston squad, I think you can do some things. trying to get a good sized lead, trying to make Boston shoot to get back in the game. We know about Tatum and Brown. Sometimes they take a lot of shots to get to their point total. Make them do that. You know, make Drew Holiday more a offensive option. So, D-Lock, I just thinking, Cleveland's kind of, they won the game in Boston, had a chance to do something at home, but if the injuries creep up to them, then they cooked. If you're Boston, if those two guys are limited or don't play or whatever, you got to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's how I see it. It has to be, taking advantage of those opportunities. Right now, Porzingis not being there, this is where you have a Jared Allen, Evan Mobley there to be able to do that, do some type of work like that against a team like this. This is probably one of the better matchups against Boston. The rest of this playoffs, or probably the rest of the season, because I think Minnesota is another team that has two bigs. So for me, I think that again, this is that opportunity. Cleveland needs to take advantage, and you take down a team like Cleveland. Now you have a chance to do what not many teams have expected, but they have to go on a roll, and it starts now.
So we'll see how tomorrow evening's matchup goes on that front. Real quick, OKC, Dallas winning close one. I was sitting there watching this. I felt like some careless shots and turnover by SGA towards the end. And I want to say Kyrie really, really put Dallas over the hump at the end. Because Luka was hurt. And thank God they got Kyrie on that team, because if they don't, or he was hurt, you had to depend on Luka to handle the ball and stuff like that. And then way he was just limping around, I don't think Dallas would win that game. Maybe not. But I thought OKC screwed the pooch there at the end. Your thoughts on how this series is going, and can Dallas go up 3-1 come tomorrow night, or do OKC tied up?
To be honest, man, I think having Luka hurt, we're going to see more of that in this next game. Again, Dallas is another team that is loaded. We've seen when they put the roster together, trading for PJ Washington and having Daniel Gafford. This starting group is very good, actually. Derek Lively was a hell of a pick, and he's coming off the bench playing extremely well. So I think that OKC is going to make a strong push. But I think that Dallas does go up 3-1. I think this is where we've talked about how young this team is. They have some growing to do, or, how far can they go? I just think that the experience right now is someone on Dallas. I may be wrong, but I think that having Kyrie, having Luka, the experience is on Dallas' side. I think this is where Dallas does take over. But Luka's going to, depending on Luka's health, we'll see how it looks. The next game is in Dallas. So I definitely expect Dallas to come out ready to go. OKC is not going to go down without a fight, obviously, but I think with the experience and the fact that these Thunder, these guys are fairly young, I don't want to just say that they don't have a shot, but I think that, like I said, the experience on the other end is definitely
going to help Dallas. I think they do move up 3-1, but I don't think it's done in 5.
I think real quick for me, it's just like one thing OKC got to do tomorrow night's matchup. They got to go inside more. Chet Holmgren got to be a little bit more aggressive. Drive the paint. I know it's going to be tough against Lively and Gafford and PJ Washington. But, get some pump fakes in there. If you got to catch the ball outside on the wing or whatever, unless you don't have a clear-cut open shot on three-point land, pump fake, driving inside. Get some fouls. Get those big men in trouble. They like to hide Luka, on the weak side defensively. Try to take advantage of that. Get some pick and rolls and situations down in between you, SGA, and Jalen Williams. And I think also Josh Giddey only played like 13 minutes. I'm going to kind of say this on my projection thing, but he's got to step up to the plate. He's like one of those dudes. He's just there. He's just there. I just described that earlier. He's just there. And I'll get that more in my prediction later on, but he's just there. He's got to step up a little bit better. I expect the bench guys kind of play a little bit better, in my opinion. But I think the series goes back 2-2 because Luka, unless he toughs it out, I think it's going to be a tall task to ask him to, try and do everything. Granted, yes, you got Kyrie there, but, Luka's that dude. And I don't think PJ Washington will go 5 for 12 for 3-point land again. As great as he's been a fit with the team, I don't think he'll score that again in tomorrow's matchup, in my humble opinion. But I'll let you have the last word.
Yeah, I think, like I said, that team is going to be. I love what they're doing at OKC. But I think that very young team could use some veterans on that team, or a vet. But I think, like I said, I don't think it's done in 5. I do think that they do go ahead and push this game, this series. I definitely got Dallas. Dallas going up 3-1 because of the youth that OKC has, which I'll talk about later on.
So we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that and see how things go tomorrow night in those games. But this is the segment of the show, ladies and gentlemen, that I was kind of, really hyping up about, kind of excited about. I was thinking about racking in my idea. I was sitting there cooking my wife Mother's Day dinner and stuff like that in the crock pot. I was like, what things I'm going to bring up today? What things I'm going to bring up today? Well, D-Lock is 10 years of IE Sports Radio. 10 years of shows, podcasting here on the network. A lot of changes. A lot of people coming and going. But it's good to be here on this network for the past several years. A lot of growth in this network. And, here on this network, we're kind of doing podcasting before, the pandemic kind of changed the game, for better or worse, that everybody can grab a mic. But we were doing it here on this network. To the people in the chat that have been busting their asses, whenever they join the network, I salute y'all. Y'all do excellent work. Y'all tune in live every week with us. So, I greatly appreciate it. Larry B, the founder, he's in the chat. I salute you, sir. To kind of sort us out, put us together, and we'll be doing this show for years. And before we get to our, main topic, you know, our founder Larry B, he's gonna be doing the, take it back. I'm sorry, but we'll be doing like a special message here after the show and trying to and give our extended thoughts and all that stuff. But D-Lock, I'll let you go first. What at least, for time run out, at least 10 things that you think will happen in this off season? Because I think this off season may be a lot of change, not just in the NBA, but in basketball. But I'll let you go off 10 things. What you think is going to happen in your eyes?
Well, I'll definitely go by a few things. And I think I have a few things written down. I don't know if I'll get to all of them, but I'll go through a few, so then give you, the chance to touch on the things that you have. I want to say this: the Warriors are going to break up the big three. I think Draymond, Steph, Clay. I think this is the year that we see this three get separated. Not saying that both Klay Thompson and Draymond are moved, but I believe somebody is. I think that this is the year because of how the season has been. They're not built around. This is not a championship type team. We see that. I mean, we literally seen this team be at all-time high, have the best record in the NBA. To now, this team is struggling to get in the play-in. Klay Thompson is not who he used to be. That's just the honest truth. I just seen the video a couple of days ago when he was coming back from the ACL injury. The guy on the announcer said he's back, and he hasn't been that person since the ACL injury. So I think this is that time. I think he's the one that gets moved, or one of. And Draymond, it's probably that time as well for him. Like, this is the time where you have to continue to move forward and build around what you have in Steph Curry, who continues to do as much as he can, but only can do so much of what he can do. So for me, I think the Warriors break up that big three, man. I think this is the time that that happens. Another one. We just recently talked about this. That we'll probably touch on a little bit after the show. I think Ronnie goes back to college.
Ooh.
I think that, the talk of obviously the hype of him going to the league, the expectation, his dad being his dad, getting an invite, X, Y, and Z. But I think there's a change of heart at some point. I think somebody gets in his ear, not necessarily his dad, or I think it's somebody that's going to get in his ear and let him know, you know what? It's probably best for you to at least come back a year and give it another shot. Go somewhere where, they can actually coach you and have you give you a full year. Because clearly the cardiac arrest situation was something that was very bothering and warning to a lot. I think that is brought up as well in his ear. So I think him going back to college is a big possibility, something that not many is expecting. I think that's something that definitely happens. Another one. This is a huge one that probably should have been happening. But Mark Jackson gets the job.
Oh, you took one. You took one from me.
Great minds think alike. This is the year that he gets a job. I mean, I think that at this point, he has accolades are there. I think this is just the year where, he gets a chance to show what kind of coach he can be and has been. I mean, he's done, what he did with the Warriors and putting that team together shows what he would have been doing. I think this is the chance that he gets. So that's going to make this offseason very interesting if that does happen. And I think it does. I think this is a chance that he gets. And I believe that when you do give him this opportunity, the team that does give him an opportunity, I think that is a huge, huge deal. I think they would be grateful for. I think he'll be grateful for. I think we see great things coming, with that team that he builds around. Another big one for me, I think Brandon Ingram is traded this offseason. I have specifically he is traded to the Magic. Obviously, me talking about the Magic. Like I said, I was going to bring up the Magic earlier. Listen, we played well, but I think you bring another key player in there that makes a big difference. I think another key piece that you put with that young core. I think that he would be, a good team to go to, or he would be a good player to join them. I'm also hearing that, Klay Thompson or the Magic are favorite to be interested in Klay Thompson, which I'll leave that up in the air for the moment, do some more research on it and think about it. But I think Brandon Ingram gets traded this offseason. I think him, McCollum, and Zion clearly we see where that's going. Herbert Jones, Trey Murphy, they got a lot of Magic Marks. They got a lot of these guys, but he's going to be one that you're going to have to pay. I think they move him, and I'm hoping that the Magic are the team, or is the team that continues to show interest and make that big push for him. That's my goal. A goal, but my dream anyway, for that to happen. So if he gets traded, which I think so, hopefully Orlando is that team. Obviously on the up and up, they make that move forward. My last one, I guess I give you some time with it. I think OKC use a lot of the draft picks to get a veteran.
That's no one right there I got.
See, I think that's a good way to hand it to you. I think OKC use all these picks to get another. You hit on all of your draft picks, right? I mean, possibly move Josh Giddey. Maybe he's not playing this series right now. But you got SGA, you got Chet, Jalen Williams, both of them, Lou Dort. You have their pieces. Go get you a veteran. Hell, possibly two. Go get you somebody that can help this team take it to that next level. Who could it be? That's a good question. But I believe that's what they're missing. Like I said, I think that the difference between them and Dallas is they don't have, you have a Kyrie and you have a Luka. And all of these vets that've been here before, these guys are young guys. They haven't experienced this yet. And I think that you need to bring somebody else in to add not just another young piece like the Orlando Magic going to get Brandon Ingram or somebody around that age. Get you a vet that's been here that knows what it feels like to get to this level and beyond. So I think that OKC and with the capital that you have, all of their draft picks, make them work. You don't need to really draft any more players. You're good with the young pieces, the young core that you have. Use that to go get you somebody that's been there. So, again, I think that happens. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, there's a couple names I definitely would throw out there, but I think that they need to go ahead and get somebody that's been there. Obviously, I think now we're hearing Kevin Durant is not happy in Phoenix, or not happy, but didn't like his offense. This guy may try to call to go back. Okay, so you never know. But I think that is a big thing that can possibly happen, depending on how this series goes. But obviously there's more, but I definitely want to leave some for you to kind of touch on and express. But those are my five right there. I'll let you take over the rest.
All right. For me, let me go quickly here. The Lakers are doing a extensive coaching search right now. Now, I said last week's show, did the Darvin Ham deserve to be fired? I said no. And I think you give him at least another year because you took that squad last season to the Western Conference Finals. And then you kind of get matched up again against Denver. It's just kind of like it's one of those bad matchups against the team. And like I said, you didn't play bad against Denver, but granted, you lost all those times. So there's that. Now, who will be their coach? There's a lot of names being floated out there. JJ Redick, been popular one. The assistant coach for the Timberwolves, who's kind of like the acting head coach with Chris Finch on the bench with his leg injury. He's been popular right now. Charles Lee got hired by the Hornets. Very good hire by them. But you brought up Mark Jackson. I think you should make the call to Mark Jackson. If you want to try to have a good veteran voice in there, bring in Mark Jackson. Don't do what LeBron wants. You gotta do a solid for your team. And I think Budenholzer got hired very quickly by Phoenix. So he's out the picture, and I think Jackson deserves at least a talking to bring in. This is my opinion. I don't know what happened in Golden State that all these teams are kind of scared to talk to him. But I think Jackson deserves a talking to by the Lakers to get hired. I don't know where they're going to go. Maybe like an assistant coach somewhere, but I think Mark Jackson deserves a look by the Lakers. A trade can I think either in Atlanta, either Trae Young or Dejounte Murray gets traded. And I think I lean towards Trae Young getting traded from the Hawks. They got the number 1 overall pick in the draft lottery today. Could they trade Murray? Sure. One or two guys will get traded. I lean towards Young, but it won't surprise me if Murray gets traded as well. But I think the Hawks trade one of the 2 guards in this offseason. The Lakers probably a popular name, but like you alluded to, OKC, if they could get somebody like Trae Young maybe, or Dejounte Murray in there, a long shot for me would be like Kevin Durant or Tyrese Maxey. Because Maxey still hasn't signed his deal, which I'm going to lead to here in a second. But I think OKC, they like you alluded to, they make a move in this summer to get a veteran guard somewhere. And I think they you look at Atlanta, they're going to look up to give up those guards. If you're OKC, also look at maybe acquiring Brandon Ingram. Josh Giddey's an okay player, but he's just there. And if you can ship him off and allow some of those picks, whatever, and maybe another couple young pieces, I think you could do something there. But like I said, I think Atlanta trade one of those 2 guys. I think Philadelphia gets a deal done with Tyrese Maxey, but it'll be pulled by kicking and screaming. And I'm surprised he hasn't got his deal done yet. Which made me think maybe a sign and trade may be looming for him. Maybe, maybe not. But I just think, they're kind of just dragging their feet signing the contract extension with him, and he kind of showed he could be that guy. And this is a bold projection. If I was Charlotte, I said this on the show in the past, I would sell high on LaMelo Ball and maybe do a sign trade with Maxey. And if I was Charlotte, now you got a nice young core with Maxey, a guy who can stay healthy, going along with Brandon Miller, whoever you pick at 6. The big guys down low, the guys you drafted last year, along with Brandon Miller, I think you and Charles Lee is your coach now. I think you can do some things with that unit. Like I said, I think it's a long shot that Philly does that type of trade. Maybe, maybe not, but it's just I'm just spitballing right there. Look around the league. Also, I don't think the Jimmy Butler and Miami Heat are in a kind of a weird spot. I don't think Jimmy gets retained by Miami. I think he gets a deal elsewhere. And I got a strange feeling, you know, the Lakers come knocking.
Ooh.
The Lakers are trying to trade their draft pick. And it sucks that, you know, it's just like the draft, you kind of don't want your first round pick compared to next season's. And I think the Lakers trying to sell high on that draft pick. But I think the Butler and the Heat relationship ends this summer. A couple other things real quick before we got off the air. Don't be surprised if you see CP3 in San Antonio. I think that'd be a great move for all parties involved, at least for just one season. But I also think in the draft, the Spurs probably trying to find a point guard of the future to go with Wemby, and you kind of build your new dynasty that way. Let's see what else. Last thing. Kind of had to tip my tongue. I know you said, I know we've been talking about the Warriors breaking it up and stuff like that. Something tells me that Klay Thompson stays in the fold. Even though they should have broken. Yeah. The way Steve Kerr is commenting, you know, and they had a chance to blow it up when they should let Draymond walk, but they brought him back. And I just got a feeling they're going to bring Klay back. And they're going to try. It's not going to be like kind of going to match up the contracts with Green and Curry. But I think it's going to be, they're going to bring those guys back one more year, at least a couple more years, and kind of have those guys right off in the sunset. I'll throw a bonus in there, D-Lock. I don't think Kawhi Leonard plays for Team USA this summer. You know, if his leg injury, if his knee or leg injuries are still bothering him, don't bother playing. Get somebody else in there. I could say the same thing for Joel Embiid. If he's not good to go, don't play either. Get somebody else in there. And also, stay on the Team USA note. I think they win gold this summer, but it's going to be a struggle. I don't know for who. You know, Greece be a strong contender. France. You know, what country Luke is from? Serbia, I believe.
Yeah, I believe so.
You know, Spain's not as strong as they. I mean, they're strong, but you know, they don't get that NBA presence there. So, but I think USA will win gold, but I think it's not going to be a cakewalk. You know, this time around, I think it's going to be real tough. So, that's my thoughts of what's going to happen this summer. You know, if we have more time, and you know, we can dive in deeper. You know, all that stuff. But you know, any final thoughts on that, real quick, before we go off the air?
I'm somewhat with you. But I know they have that little bit of motivation, not to throw track in there a little bit, but Noah said about them not being world champs. I think you kind of lit a fire in those NBA players. So you got guys that are willing to play, even hurt, like a Kawhi, like an NBA. Like you said, if they can't go, then they can't go. I definitely think they wouldn't go as well, just because of the talent that we have. I think it's not going to be easy, but they're definitely highly motivated at this point. But it's not going to be super easy at all.
Thank you for tuning in with us, ladies and gentlemen. This seeing news that the Pistons GM, Troy Weaver, may be dismissed. So, you talk about another front office position opening up, this summer and all that stuff. So, that's, another thing that could have a recall effect in the NBA. But, D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
You guys can find me at BlackDash813 on X. Let them know they can find you at the show's page.
Do follow the show's page at Twitter at FastBreak, Twitter/X at FastBreakIESR. That's FastBreakIESR. Do follow me on Twitter at Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. Do follow IE Sports Radio on all your social media feeds. Twitter/X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're all there. Thank you for 10 years of IE Sports Radio. Thank y'all for listening tonight. If you're out there, please like the show, comment, sharing is caring. We'll talk to y'all next week with more playoff talk. Peace.